If you're a baby boomer, you may want to pay attention to our next story. A Toronto liver specialist wants anyone born between 1945 and 1965 to be screened for Hepatitis-C. New statistics in Canada and the U.S. show more people are now dying from Hep C than from HIV. Kelly Crow from our health unit has our story.
It's being called a silent epidemic. Thousands of Canadians are walking around unknowingly infected with a virus that is quietly destroying their livers. Just ask Shane Carr.
Hep C? Wow. I was in shock.
Yes.
Last year, a routine blood test revealed he had serious liver cirrhosis caused by the Hepatitis-C virus, an infection he thinks he picked up when he was in his 20s on a trip to Mexico after a local doctor injected him with a needle to treat a fever.
So you've been walking around all this time with this virus, not knowing it?
Not knowing, no. And I've always been a health crazy person.
The virus started spreading back in the 60s as people experimented with sex and drugs and before blood screening and clean needles. Experts say using injection drugs even once back then carries a 50% chance of infection. The virus is also spread through tattoos and blood transfusions.
So if you ever had a blood transfusion, back in the 80s, there was almost a 1 in 4 chance of getting hepatitis C for each unit of blood that you were transfused with.
And most victims won't feel symptoms as the virus scars the liver, leading to cirrhosis or cancer.
It is starting to kill people.
Because hepatitis C infection is diagnosed through a simple blood test, Dr. David Wong says the entire baby boomer generation should be screened.
If you were born between 1945 and 1965, that is a baby boomer, you actually have a reasonable chance of having hepatitis C in North America.
There are treatments, but they're expensive. Shane Carr's drugs cost $50,000 a year, and the side effects make him feel like he has the flu.
Take a deep breath.
But there's a good chance for a cure, which would save his liver and his life.
If it can happen to me, it can happen to anybody, right?
Usually considered a disease of drug addicts, doctors now say hepatitis C is also a disease of a generation, which means thousands of Canadians are walking around with an infection they won't know about until their livers may be damaged beyond repair. Kelly Crow, CBC News, Toronto.